Then we showcased Dave White, visitors and residents. We got everyone to stand on a continuum in the room between visitor at one end and resident on the other. This is to do with web engagement. Visitors are those people who use the web as a toolkit and who go in maybe for a search or to use a particular tool, but don't leave any online trace. Residents, however...
They leave a social trace everywhere, so they have very highly visible public web use, often having a blog, communicating on Twitter, using various channels for comment and for sharing information.
I think something that we found by getting people to place themselves on that line is showing how many sort of shades of grey there are in between those two, because they are potentially two extremes, and depending on how you're using certain tools, you could be a visitor, you could be a resident, or you could be a mix of the two. It's really interesting.
So we've got everyone to do a chart, which is also plotting personal and professional use. As an example, I don't know whose this is, but everyone did a chart. They found it quite tricky because it's quite complicated actually mapping your web engagement and your social media engagement on one piece of paper. But we're going to be sharing those as well.
I think it was tricky as well because we asked them about things they might not have thought of as social. So things like using TripAdvisor or Amazon, whether you read comments, whether you add comments, what kind of user
or whether you're just buying.
Yeah, and also email. Email came up as a thing, and people really had to sort of wrap their head around that as a social tool, and then where they place that on the scale. So it's really interesting.
So by this point we were halfway through the session, so we're halfway through this video. What else did we look at? We looked through the materials which you can find very easily from the blog. So going through the blog, the course discussion on Yammer, it's required that everyone posts once on Yammer every week. Podcasts we encourage people to listen to, the YouTube channel, the Twitter account, which the handle is at CJBSSMDL. And then we had a discussion.
Just like who's afraid of the big bad social media world? What does this really mean? It's people's concerns, it's the barriers to them using these platforms or communicating in this way, and we wanted to have a really frank and open discussion of what those were. So we three stood as a panel, and we responded to people and their inquiries.
So what were some of the issues and concerns that came up?
Sharing sort of everything with Facebook and sort of almost having an entire sort of example of your entire life on Facebook and what that meant, and some people are very uncomfortable with that, and I offered the sort of suggestion that obviously you don't have to share everything with Facebook, and there are ways of protecting yourself through privacy functions and everything else.
There's the question of ownership. Who owns the data that we produce, and is everything we want to be shared, actually being shared, and how much say have we got over that? And the question of all the work that we produce here and who owns it, and the risk-return ratio. If you engage with it, then if that's more valuable than the concerns you've got about ownership, then you've got to make that decision about that ratio.
Well, some very genuine concerns that were really interesting to talk through with everyone, actually.
Other things that came up, information overload.
Who cares what I'm necessarily even talking about? Do people even want to see it? Came a few times.
Are likes valuable?
We
found there's a scale of views on that in the room.
Yeah, whether it's a shallow response or whether it can actually lead to something that's more engaging.
So what I talked about was how faculty members, at least 5 of them in the school, who have found out they started having very shallow engagement, and then through blogging they actually managed to up their interest, their research networks, their community, and have got very excited about blogging and what it can lead to. Then we did a flip chart exercise, and Georgina's kicked off.
I did kick off. So we did blogging, lots and lots of fancy words came out. So people spoke about, for them blogging was chatty, some people said good content while others said bad content. Trolls came up quite a lot. Lots of things about personal and sharing of opinions and stories. So I think that was very good.
And then Ange did the same with Twitter. The reason being that these are our platforms that are going to underpin the course, so we wanted to get people's initial reactions to these platforms.
We just wanted one word as well, so word association. We got some really interesting ones on here. Troll appeared again, timely, random, public, dangerous, hashtag, instant. So these are all issues that we're going to explore when we begin to talk about Twitter and blogging. But it was really interesting to just be able to take the temperature of the room, see what people were thinking in relation to these tools.
Definitely.
Then we had a bit of a look at the Connect With Us page on the external website. just to make sure people knew it was there, because it lists all the blogs and the Twitter accounts and other related social media channels that are available. And then we talked a bit about support. Do you want to get this?
Yeah, sure. So obviously there will be teaching people during sessions, but outside of those sessions the course leaders will be available for one-to-one sessions. We'll have a drop-in surgery every Friday between 2 till 3 in the afternoon. You don't have to book, you can just pop along and we will help you as much as we can with whatever questions you have left over that we might not have covered in the workshop. And also we have a course dedicated email address, so that's cjvssndl@gmail.com. It's all on the blog, don't worry. And you can just drop us a line if you need to set something up. Please don't email us personally directly. Do use the shared email address.
Yeah, we are taking holiday during the course at different times.
So if we don't get back to you, that might be why, because one of us is out the office.
But someone will always get back on the group email.
Yeah. And it's also, if you have missed a session and you need to chat to one of us about it, we can also set something up for support that way as well.
Yeah. So we also revealed that everyone's in groups.
Yes.
Teams.
It's not a competition.
Teams.
It's not a competition.
Team
But
master.
Team Eagle.
Yes.
I'm not going to get involved. I'm not competitive.
Of course not.
So what's the point of these groups?
Team
then?
Anchor.
There you go. We come out eventually. But yeah, it's to have groups so people can support each other within the groups, and also there will be some exercises later on in the course that will be group based. So it's just easy to put people in a little category like that early on.
Although we are not categorising people in any other way
No.
other than putting them in a group.
No. Yes.
What else? We're nearly there. Week 1 tasks, they're on the blog.
Yep.
And we finished with a little video from Stephen Fry talking about the potential danger to society of various different things, including post boxes, cars.
It's disruptive technology.
Yeah.
It basically some element that changes the way that we communicate as a species and our public discourse. So you find that the post box and the telephone and radio are as life-changing as the internet. So that was a really interesting view.
And the fact is, regardless of what you think about each thing, once they're out of the bottle, you can't get them back in it. In terms of so we've got to engage with social media. It's out there now, and we've got to deal with that. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think so. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really, really interesting session, and everyone contributed a huge amount, and what everyone was sort of saying with word associations and the questions that came up were really, really good. So
we hope that's been a useful summary. If not, please email us and we will get back to you to discuss matters further. If you cannot be available for the next session on blogging, then you need to arrange an appointment with us soon, preferably prior to that workshop, and we'll help you set up a blog ahead of that.
Okay, so we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.